What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. Real quick before we start this video, it's going to be sponsored by ggesports.com. On their website they host a game that's been a ton of fun to play alongside watching League eSports, most recently MSI. You can play as an analyst predicting the outcome of games, but it's definitely not a betting website. You don't use any real money, just their in-game currency, which you of course get for free. But the best part is you can still win real prizes, Riot points, laptops, phones, all sorts of stuff. So definitely check them out at the link in the description, and I'll be going over some directions on how to use their website at the end of the video. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. It might seem strange to think about for those of you that started playing League of Legends within the last couple of years, but there was once a time where it was pretty normal for Riot to release 2 or sometimes even 3 champions in under a month. Looking back through the champion release timeline, it's quite clear that this trend started to change after the release of one champion in particular, Thresh. The release of Thresh not only led to changes in Riot's development schedule, but it also changed the way they designed the entire support role and champions as a whole. Thresh was released on the 23rd of January 2013, making him the last champion to be released before the start of Season 3. His designer, Certainly T, put him together using a cancelled scythe-wielding tank champion called Kamachi as a big inspiration for his theme. The interesting part about this though is that Thresh was never originally designed to be a support, despite the fact that he's now one of the most popular supports in the game altogether. Thanks to his aggressive design concept, Certainly T initially had Thresh as a solo top laner or jungler, at least in the early development cycle. Before this point, supports were chosen for their defensive and utility capabilities like buffing, healing, kiting for their teammates, and an aggressive playmaking style of support was for the most part non-existent. A comment in passing from Riot Zilius sparked a change for what eventually led to Thresh being redesigned for the support role, only with a bit of a twist. He'd still maintain the awesome playmaking abilities that were given to him to make him a viable solo laner and a jungler as well, along with the addition of his lantern ability to add another tool into his playmaking arsenal. Thresh was one of the most well-received champions that Riot has ever released, and his impact on the game was, without a doubt, massive. He not only brought a new badass aesthetic to the traditionally feminine support role, but he brought the potential to actively carry the game as well. In the past, supports did exactly what you would expect from the name. They supported the carries, the stars that took the credit for every winning play. The release of Thresh shook this idea to its core. Suddenly, it was possible to be both the support and the key playmaker on the team, a privilege that was usually reserved for top laners and junglers. Never before had a relevant support champion been so involved in the game. Instead of existing as a ward and a heal bot for kiting, Thresh was stealing the limelight and spawning almost an entirely new playstyle, the playmaking support. This change didn't come without growing pains though. Riot had never designed such an aggressive character with so much playmaking potential for the support role before, so we needed some pretty severe nerfs to bring him into a more balanced state. Once the nerfs had concluded, Thresh still remained dominant in the meta though, unlike other playmaking supports like Alistar and Leona before the release of Thresh, showing Riot that the success of Thresh was down to his design and the way that it challenged preconceived notions about how each role should function. His creation popularized a proactive and fun playstyle for the existing support players, but it also made the support role much more wildly appealing to the average player as a whole, and as well allowed other playmaking supports or champions with the potential to be played as playmaking supports rise into the meta. It's pretty clear that Thresh paved the way for Riot's new support designs, but the aftershocks of his release ran a lot deeper for sure. Thresh proved to Riot that new champions are a compelling and exciting way for them to introduce new playstyles and strategies into League of Legends. Thresh's success showed Riot that one amazing champion could have a much more positive impact on the game than 5 mediocre ones, proving that quality beats quantity by a massive margin in terms of new champion releases. And from there, it sparked them to explore new archetypes and attempt to redefine roles other than support through the release of new champions too. The previous release schedule of 1 or 2 champions a month collapsed immediately following Thresh's release. Suddenly the gaps between champion launches grew to 4, 6, 8 weeks, eventually progressing to be further and further apart. Instead of each new champion being composed of mechanics from previous releases or similar skill sets, they would introduce new mechanics into the game, or they would have more clearly defined and unique characteristics. The level of polish improved in equal measure. Instead of just throwing a concept together in the span of a few weeks and putting the whole champion together in a span of a few months, each champion would have upwards of 9+ months of development time on average for each one. Champions now had defined personalities, more varied appearances, and much more interesting gameplay to match, and as a result, players felt more connected with the new champions that they started to love, and it gave Riot time to build the hype for new releases, with the knowledge that every single new champion had the potential to shake up the game and keep things fresh for the community. And it was Thresh who pioneered these changes into League of Legends champion design. He introduced the playmaking support playstyle to the game and revolutionized the support role, and how Riot develops champions in the process. Sometimes it's easy to forget how much better things are today, especially when we're feeling impatient about the next champion release, or maybe a little bit salty that a certain champion is a little bit too overpowered right now. But to put things into perspective, only 26 champions have been released in the 4 years since the launch of Thresh, which is actually just about the same number of champions that were released in Season 2 alone. However, one thing throughout all of this remains true. Newer champions today are of significantly higher quality than before, and just far more enjoyable to play overall. And it's largely in part all thanks to Thresh. Thanks for watching, everybody. I just wanted to take some time here at the end to explain how to play on our new sponsor, ggesports.com. You go to the website, and after your account is set up, go to the Game Hall. Click on LOL near the side to go to the upcoming League of Legends games, and you can click on Bet Now on whichever game you choose, and you're taken to the area where you can wager on who will win, or perhaps take it up a notch to increase your winnings by betting on some of the more complex things, such as who's going to get the first tower or the first dragon. After you decide what you want to bet on, you can click on it to be taken to the confirmation screen to select how much you want to bet, and you can confirm your decision after your selection. Thanks again to GG Esports for supporting our content, and I'm looking forward to seeing if any of you guys can win some cool stuff on their website.